I was getting new kitchen tile put in my apartment, and when they put the refrigerator back, they punctured the water line. So up until about 2 hours ago, my entire kitchen was completely flooded. You guys better bring it today, man.
Uploading.
Yes! Oh, man, yes! Woo! Oh, man. Oh, man, I had one of those days, man. Had one of those days. I stayed up late and put together my weekly picks video. My Monday morning power rankings video came out, the first one ever. I'm still on the fence of how I want to do both videos. I like the formats I did because they're quick and easy. The whole point of doing those videos is to generate a conversation. It's not to sit here and go into dense detail for each game, which I can do. I can literally go over all 14 of the games, and I can break each one down in about 20-minute segments. And because I have a job, I work full time. I actually work about 60 hours a week. No, that's no lie. I mean, it's crazy. It really is. But I want to do more. It's just time constraints. That's all it is. So the power rankings and the picks videos are just short and sweet, but anything you want in more detail, there's a all my social media is below. If you didn't check out the two videos, do check them out. They're really good. Jason says, "What's up, man?" And Jason, he told me he went 13-2, and maybe I don't know if it was a typo or if you skipped a game. There's 16 games, so maybe you didn't do one. Maybe you went 14-2. I went 9-7. So compared to you, I suck. And what I'm hoping is either on this live stream or in one of my videos, you post your picks for this week, because I would love to know what you think, because you have been on fire. And that's awesome. That's awesome. Am I jealous? Yeah, hell yeah, I'm jealous. Hell yeah, I'm jealous. I'm always jealous when somebody does better than me. But I'm also very happy for you, and hope that if you're doing some sports betting, I hope you won. If you're just in a pick'em league or you know, and for those of you who do fantasy football, I'm always here for fantasy football. I'm always here for prop bets. My boy George hit on 2 bets over the weekend. He won a quick $2,000. It's funny because I had the New England Patriots winning in an upset. He had Dallas covering, I think, 6.5. And one of us was right. The other one's me. So, and by the way, if you are interested in getting more involved with sports betting, George is the guy you should follow. I'm not going to say who it is, but somebody I follow on social media is selling her picks for $20 a week. And I'm like, don't get me wrong, I like the girl. And she does everything. And she does everything, but $20 a week, Jesus Christ. My football knowledge triples hers, by the way. And even though she's awesome and she knows her stuff, like, And that long term, I may be selling my own picks. I'm not even picking 50% against the spread. I'm doing every single game this year, and I'm not even at 50. My boy Keys, man. Last couple of weeks have shown us there's still a long season ahead of us. Any teams, do you think we legit know who they really are already? You know, it's funny, Keys. There's two things I was planning on doing. One, I really wanted to get there's a guy I've been following for a couple of years, and he was going to he has a Vikings channel, and he was going to come on, and I don't know what happened. He just kind of vanished in the thin air. And you know, this is you being somebody who has a YouTube channel. It's frustrating when you got to rely on other people. And I was really going to do a show with him, and then I was thinking about doing like a quarterly review, because there's a few things that are going on in the National Football League that I think are really, really interesting. And there's a few curveballs. Key says, if you're going to bet, use Dan's money. I'm not doing any sports betting this year. My financial, I'm not going to lie, my financial situation's bad. And so I decided my rule number one in sports betting is have a burn fund. And that means you take the money, you light it on fire. And if you can't do that, then you shouldn't do sports betting. And right now, every penny I have needs to go to other locations. So next year, I should be in a better situation. I can start putting my money where my mouth is, because when I give you advice, it's advice that I'm taking. And win or lose, I that's kind of what I do. I don't charge you and then give you some game that I'm not even putting action on myself. So Dan's best dating advice: don't bet emotionally, don't bet your do not bet your hooker money. In reality, I say don't bet your rent money. As far as my power rankings video, if you did watch it, I didn't go into detail. I just put my 1 through 32. It's short and sweet, and I'm going to keep it that way. I'm tempted to switch it from Monday to Wednesday. I would like to get a little more feedback to what other people think. The thing is, though, is like one thing I've learned about doing this show is that every fan base, every sports fan is not capable of being unbiased. Every fan, and I really thought I'd hear more, you're wrong here, but I know I'm going to hear that from people that have, their own team. I picked their team too low, and I know that, but I thought it'd be a good way to kind of think that's it. That's my bad. It's granted for rent money as a higher priority. Any teams that shown that who they, it's funny, the biggest surprise, and I was thinking about doing a quarterly review, and I might do that Friday. It kind of I was really wanting to have a Vikings guest on, talk a little Chiefs Vikings. Keys is a fantastic guest. Every single time I've had Keys on, like, he's ready to go. I've thrown him some curveballs. Hasn't. I don't like doing that. Luke G, of course, Luke G Field Review is fantastic guest. George, when he came on, talked sports betting, was one of the best guests I've had. And he was kind of like, let's just do an hour. I don't want to be on for 2. And then he like after 1, I was like, look, do you need to get, he's like, no, I'm having a good time. This is great. And I can't wait for him to come on again. Can't wait for Keys to come back. My favorite's when Keys co-hosts with me. I love it. He's fantastic. But are there any teams that we legit know? I'm going to give you my biggest surprise is Tampa Bay. I thought this would be a team picking top 5. I thought this would be a team that might just have to implode. Here you are. You take away Tom Brady, for me, the greatest quarterback who ever lived. If you want to say he's the greatest player who ever lived, I'd be hard-pressed to say against it. Quarterback's the most important position in football. He's the best. And so if you told me he's the best player who ever lived, I wouldn't say no. But you take Tom Brady away, and Tampa Bay looks better this year than they did last year. They do. The defense looks amazing. The offense is it's kind of ugly, to be honest with you. Rashad White, I'm sorry, is not an every down back. And he's just, to tell you the truth, if I don't know what their cap situation's like, and I'd be hard pressed to figure out what Jonathan Taylor wants, but I would love to see a Jonathan Taylor trade to Tampa Bay, because that just makes sense. Because that's just, I see a player wants it out of Indy. I see a team in Tampa Bay that really needs a running back, and I would love to see it. Am I sold on Tampa Bay? The answer is no. 3-1 start is amazing. I thought the Saints would be a lot better. I was really high on them the last 2 weeks. I knew Derek Carr's banged up and everything, but it's still losing a 17-point fourth quarter lead. Just not getting it done against Tampa Bay. Detroit was a team that I thought was going to be a 9-10 win team. They look fantastic. If you go by Monday Night Football, I was not that high on Devin Witherspoon coming out. At least I didn't think he was a top 10 player. I had Joey Porter Jr. as my number one corner. Then the more I watched Christian Gonzalez, I'm like, this is my number one corner. And I didn't see the top 5, top 10 potential of Devin Witherspoon. I just didn't see it. I really didn't think he would be that guy. And then I watched him on Monday night, and I'm like, oh my God. I mean, blitzing off the edge in the slot, a position he didn't really play, and a couple sacks, the pick six, just everywhere on the football field. I felt terrible for Jamal Adams, who played about 9 plays and needed to be taken out of the game. It was very obvious. Seattle, to me, looks like a team that is legit. Detroit looks like a team that is legit. And those are 2 teams I was kind of like, my power rankings, even though I hope that you go and watch it, the number 1 team on my power rankings is the 49ers. They look legit. I just named some NFC teams because in the AFC, I don't know. I really don't know. I look at the AFC, and it's kind of funny because at the beginning of the season, I would have told you the complete opposite. Now in the NFC, I'm looking at a couple teams that are really legit, and I'm looking at the AFC, and I'm like, I don't know. Buffalo after week 1 looks like a monster. I know Miami lost, but they look really good, and the Vic Fangio defense is going to get better and better and better. Tua, all he has to do is stay healthy, and they get Jalen Ramsey back November-ish. I fully expect some of the teams that are doing bad to do better. The AFC South is fun. All teams are 2-2 right now. Seriously, the AFC South to me is the most entertaining division in football because all 4 teams are completely different. All 4 teams are 2-2, and you have I can literally go through all 4 of the AFC South teams, and I can make a strong case of why each one of those teams are the best team in the division and how all 4 of those teams are the worst team in the division. It's crazy. But I was thinking about doing like a quarterly review. But I really wanted. It's always a lot more fun when there's a guest on, somebody to go a little back and forth with. As much as I could sit here and talk football for about 3 to 4 hours straight, I am capable of doing that. My throat gets sore. I got water today. I just pounded an energy drink, not cocaine, just an energy drink. It's always more fun to have a little back and forth, and I wanted to get a Vikings fan's opinion on a team that's went 13-4 last year and is now 1-3, looking at 1-4. And then I also want to know, is there legitimate hope? Is there legitimate hope that the Minnesota Vikings can do something better? That the Vikings can beat Kansas City? I'd like to know that. Saints have had the second easiest schedule so far and the second easiest remaining. Philly has gone from fourth easiest to the hardest. Yeah, the Saints are a team I was really high on. And I mean, I thought that they could be maybe the second best team in the NFC. Now I'm like, I don't know. Philly looks awesome. The offense looks a little off, but the defense may be better. I know that sounds crazy. And Jalen Carter is just looking awesome. Jalen Carter is looking awesome. A few things I did want to talk about, and I'm going to keep this show. I'm going to keep it relatively short tonight. I'm going to hit on a few things here. Denver's had the third easiest so far. I'm going to have the fourth hardest for the rest of the way. Things could get really ugly. Feeling bad for Denver. I do think that Denver's a team. And by the way, they play Kansas City twice in the next couple of weeks. They play them 6 and 8. I think weeks 6 and 8, and they're probably going to lose both of those. They're a team that I think that even best case scenario, there's no way that they get into the playoffs. It's kind of funny because if you watch Monday Night Football, great 16 minutes into the show, and I just had a complete brain freeze. Drew Lock, I can't believe I forgot his name. Drew Lock came in, and I'm like, there is no way. Drew Lock just came in fresh, and he looks. There's no way. I said this at the time. If Drew Lock started instead of Bridgewater, Fangio would still be in Denver. That team would have got to the playoffs. There's no way that there's 30, or let's just go 25. There's no way there's 25 quarterbacks better than Drew Lock. If those 2 or 3 snaps. If I'm Sean Payton, and by the way, Russell Wilson has not played terrible, but he's just not really the long-term answer. He really isn't. But if you're an NFL team and you're struggling at the quarterback position, you really should take a look at this Drew Lock kid and instead of drafting one of the, by the way, this quarterback draft could be one for the ages, but instead of taking a quarterback, get the guy who's cheaper, and he would be cheaper, who looks really good in Drew Lock. Yeah, I'm making a case to be Drew Lock's agent. Dallas had the 5th easiest, and we'll have the 7th hardest rest of the way. The Chargers have had the 8th easiest, and we'll have the 7th hardest. And both those teams are talented, and both those teams, I question the coaching. One thing about Dallas is they've proven. I'm not sold that Arizona is a good team yet. I'm not sold that they're going to be a 500 team, but I think they can cause some problems. I don't think they're nearly as bad as I thought they would be. That said, when they beat Dallas, it was more of a microcosm of how Dallas is. You lose to Arizona, you blow out New England, and they're always going to be a team like that. They're going to lose another game this year. I'm telling you this right now. Dallas is going to lose another game this year that they might be as much as a 10-point or plus double-digit favorite. I mean, that's just the way they are. Chargers are a team that, unless they make the playoffs, Brandon Staley's gone. He's the head coach. And I think that it was a bad decision. It'll be interesting. We're going to do a lot of talk when the offseason hits about coaching hires, coaching candidates, and my screen just went off. There we go. And we're also going to do a lot of draft stuff, and this is going to be a fun draft. There's lots of quarterbacks out there. It's going to be fun. One of the teams that I was not that high on, but now I am, is Seattle. That was very impressive what they did on Monday night. I thought Geno Smith losing his cool about the play. I didn't think it was a dirty play at all. You can get underneath Geno Smith's skin. You kind of proved that. And I'll be honest with you, I don't understand the love affair Seattle has with Geno Smith. The team and the offense look better with Drew Lock. Drew Lock can play, folks. The Giants aren't that bad. When Andrew Thomas comes back, when Saquon Barkley gets in, the offensive line gets a little better. They need a wide receiver desperately. The Giants do. Jalen Hyatt, who I really liked coming out of Tennessee, is not a legit number one dude. He's a guy that on a different team could be much, much, much more productive. But that division's too tough. The Giants are not a playoff team. Sorry. Chiefs and Jets. It's funny because a lot was made. One thing Chiefs fans will all agree upon is that we need more Taylor Swift on TV. I love the Taylor Swift Travis Kelce thing, but I am a single minority. I'm the only one who likes it. But it's funny if you never watched football before and you were to watch Sunday Night Football, it's obvious Zach Wilson's a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes. That's a no-brainer. And there's so many people that have never watched football before. They're going, hey, that number 2 is better than 15. And he did. He played fantastic. Zach Wilson played really good. That was a good game. You went against a really good defense. He doesn't drop the ball. There's a good chance Jets win that game. Very good chance Jets win that game. I look at the Jets, and that defense is so good, and they got so many weapons. And now there's talk that Aaron Rodgers is – I'll be honest with you. If you had say, is Aaron Rodgers going to retire or is Aaron Rodgers going to come back, I would say retire. But now I'm like, God, you know what? Let's say you're week 15 and the Jets are, 8-7 and have a chance. How scary would it be to see Aaron Rodgers on that team? Fuck it. Let's just say he's on one goddamn leg. Can't like you can't do any bootlegs, quarterback scrambles, or anything. Or is Zach Wilson just keep getting better and better? Because if the thing is, I don't think Zach Wilson, I think that was the best game of his career. If he learns and keeps going up, the Jets are a dangerous team. I will say this. I'm biased. The Chiefs are going to win the West. I don't think they're as good as the Bills. I don't think they're as good as the Dolphins. I really don't. But they're going to win the West. And you don't want to play Kansas City in the playoffs. I'm warming up to the Taylor Swift thing for one reason. The first quarter of each game she's been in attendance, the offense has looked really focused. That's also something that you want to pay attention to in betting circles. First score, first quarter. I have 2 comments on that game, probably more, but Kansas City was curb stomping them until the refs started interjecting themselves. And this is the second time in a year Hackett has dismantled Spag's defense with one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. Yeah, Hackett's had some success against Kansas City's defense. He really has. And by the way, one thing that we're not talking about, Keys, is this is something that we keep hearing in Beach We Trust. He gave Jawan Taylor a massive amount of money, and he's not even close to being worth that. It's almost an albatross. Most penalized player in the league. He's responsible for that safety that really kick-started everything for the Jets. He doesn't hold, and the Chiefs are up 17-0. Brett Veach has made some mistakes. Now, keep in mind, he's general manager of the best team in the NFL over the last, 5 years. But he's made some mistakes. All that draft capital to a player who is now playing for the Bengals. A 4-year, $80+ million contract. I think $60 million guaranteed for a guy that has not played well early on. The Chiefs need help at receiver. even though I fully believe that as the year goes on, even though as the year goes on, I'm firmly convinced they'll be better. But early on, there's some questions. There are some questions. Right now, they're not, but they get the receivers coached up. I'm hopeful by the end of the season, the safety wasn't. I think the safety was a safety. If you hold in the end zone or if you face mask a player in the end zone, it's a safety. He had him by the face mask in the end zone. I didn't have a problem with it. I was more mad that we gave, I think, $60 million guaranteed to a guy that is played okay. I didn't like the signing. I was confused by it. I thought maybe they move him to left, which didn't make a lot of sense. I'm not really happy about it right now. All I'll say for Taylor, it's been 4 games. He's been getting picked on athletically. He's got much higher ceiling. I don't know if he has a higher ceiling than Blockfeet Jr. Because I think Blockfeet Jr. in the right scheme could be dominant. But not in a heavy passing scheme, which Kansas City runs. But Wiley, no question. And it's only been 4 games. You're 100% correct. It's only been 4 games, but I thought it was way too much money. And it could have been allocated. We could have given him probably 2/3 of that, and we would have been able to get him. I think it was just kind of I think it was a mistake. I really do. I think it was a mistake, and we have to still address the left tackle situation. Donovan Smith's not the long-term one. If you start the face mask or hold outside of the end zone, it's not a safety. That's the issue, Dan. Okay, now here's what I saw is that he grabbed the face mask while he was in the end zone. But if you start the face mask or hold outside the end zone, so what Keys is saying is that this started outside the end zone. I thought it started inside the end zone. And Keys is right, by the way. So the rule is if you hold in the end zone, or if you grab the face mask in the end zone, it's a safety. Okay, that me and Keys 100% agree. I think he grabbed the face mask after he was past the end zone. I said athletically he's got much higher ceiling, but we can't agree that he's much athletic. I'm done on this channel. I said athletically he's got much higher ceiling. If we can't agree that he's got much higher athletic ceiling, look, athletic ceiling than Orlando. You have to realize when you say athleticism, Orlando Brown is exceptionally powerful. Juwan Taylor's, quicker, faster, but no, if it's not okay. If that's the case, then yeah, I thought it started in the end zone. It looked like he grabbed it as he entered the end zone. So that's just what we see here. But going back to the Chiefs-Jets game, it's kind of strange because the AFC looks different than I thought it would. I thought there'd be, a couple teams at the top. And then I thought the second tier would be muddled. Now it looks like the AFC as a whole is muddled. It really does. But the NFC, I think I think San Francisco is the best team in football. Philly's still undefeated, and I think you have Dallas. All right. I think you have a tier 2. I think you have the Seahawks, and I think you have the Lions. I want to put Tampa Bay in there because they're 3-1. They've been impressive. I love the defense, but I'm not really sold on them. In the AFC, I think it's just a mesh. If you want to tell me that Buffalo, I in my power rankings video, I have Buffalo, Miami, and Kansas City as the 3 top teams in the AFC. But I really think that, come playoff time, I don't know which one. Buffalo's offense and defense looks better. They get Von Miller back. They're going to be dangerous once they get Von Miller, especially if he's 100%. The offense looks like it's improving. Miami, with that 70 they put, they're a lot of fun to watch. They really are. They looked bad defensively last week against Buffalo. They really did. They really did, but overall, I think they're going to be solid defensively. That's a team that I thought would finish fourth, and they look like they're one of the best teams in football. But I did get Pete, who's been on this show before as a guest. He's spending a lot of time on his own YouTube channel, which is really good, by the way. Excuse me. So he's going to come on when the Chiefs play the Dolphins in Germany. And I'm looking forward to that because, it looks like it could be a battle that could have home field ramifications. And then I think a few weeks later, I don't have the schedule memorized, but I know the Chiefs will play. They're going to play Miami the first week of November. I think 3 weeks later, they play Buffalo. And then down the line, they're going to play it goes Miami, and then a few weeks they're going to play Philly. But as far as AFC opponents, they're going to play Buffalo, I think, 1 or 2 weeks after Philly, and then late in the season play Cincinnati, which looks like a disaster right now. Top 10 most illegal formations penalty 2020. Baltimore Ravens, 18 games, 2 accepted, 5 total. 2019 Ravens, 17 games, 2 accepted, 4 total. 2023 John Taylor, 3 games, 2 accepted, 3 total. From offensive line penalties only. And keep in mind, you bring up a good point, 4 weeks, but all that money going to a guy that had never been to a Pro Bowl. I didn't think he was really, I loved him coming out of Florida, but I also thought maybe his best position was guard, not right tackle, but we'll have to see what happens. I really think Milano is going to be a big issue when we play them. He's talking about the Bills. We won't face another cornerback room like the Jets, so really hoping Spags was holding back in that game plan. Definitely could be. And, one thing about the Jets is that their defensive line is just awesome. Their defensive line is just awesome. And it depends if, the Chiefs' offensive line gets better as the year goes on, and that definitely could happen. Isaiah Pacheco played phenomenal. Give him a lot of credit. I mean, he was easily the game MVP, and I always say this. I'm an old school guy. Really like to see them run the ball more. Arizona and San Francisco, I want to touch base on. I'm going to stand by this. Christian McCaffrey is my NFL MVP. I think the last time a running back's been NFL MVP was, I don't know if Derrick Henry won it or not, but I know Adrian Peterson did, I think in 2008. But Christian McCaffrey looks like the best player on the best team. And that's no disrespect to Brock Purdy or George Kittle or Deebo Samuel or Nick Bosa. It's just McCaffrey. He's just been playing lights out. And I'm going to stand by it. I use my MVP. I might do a quarterly review show Friday. If I do, I'm going to say the same thing. Christian McCaffrey is my NFL MVP. With Dallas and New England, if you're not aware, Matthew Judon's going to miss a couple months, maybe the Patriots' best player. And that's a big blow. I've been adamant that I think the Patriots are a good team, and when you get embarrassed like that, it'll be interesting to see if they can bounce back. Mac Jones getting benched, I think it speaks volumes. They're poo-pooing it, they're putting it on hold, but I really wonder if the Patriots are just thinking, "Hey, look, we just made a mistake. Mac Jones isn't the guy." I'm really believing that now, and we'll have to see what happens next week. I may be completely wrong. Vegas and Chargers, I don't know who it was, but somebody told me Aiden O'Connell will be the starting quarterback by midseason. And boy, he looked good. They easily could have won that game, even though the Chargers jumped out to a big lead. The Raiders could have come back. Raiders could have easily won that game. Aiden O'Connell looks good. I see some things that the Raiders are doing, but they're going to be an interesting team. But the way I understand it, Jimmy G is going to come back, but he should be looking over his shoulder. And if I'm the Raiders, I might just start to Aiden O'Connell. Just start it, just see what you can do. Maybe you can trade, Jimmy G, get something. I don't know, but he looked good. He looked really good. Pittsburgh at Houston. I am floored by this. Nico Collins was a former second-round pick out of Michigan. I really wanted him in Kansas City because he's big, tall, fast, raw as hell. Looks like he's finally coming to life. CJ Stroud, I told everybody he was my quarterback number one. I like the way he conducts himself. I would have told you I thought Houston would be a terrible team this year. Everybody in that division's 2-2, and the Houston Texans should be excited. If you're a Houston Texans fan, you should be very excited. Minnesota and Carolina. Minnesota gets to play Kansas City next week. Kind of a gauge board, because if they lose that game and they go 1-4, what do you do? And then if you're Carolina, I mean, you're basically, this is just a growth season. Let's just be clear. You're 0-4. You're probably not going to be very good. You just want Bryce Young to grow. That's all you want. And then you have to figure some things out defensively. Offensively, just kind of it's going to be a rough year for Carolina. Look, if you're a Panthers fan, I'm sorry. It's just going to be a bad year. What you want to do is see Bryce Young get better and better and better. And then you're going to use that draft pick. You never know. You may get Marvin Harrison Jr. in the draft. That's the plus. Philly and Washington. Something looks off with Philly's offense, but the defense, I know they gave up 31. I know that division games are tough. Look, you have a new ownership group in Washington. You have a head coach who's also the general manager. You bring in a big name offensive coordinator in Eric Bieniemy from Kansas City. It's going to be interesting because I have a hard time believing things are going to stay the same in Washington. Slasher, what's up, Dan and fella? Slasher, man. By the way, in the description below is both my NFL picks video, which I released at noon. I'm changing that. I'm going to try to get out at noon. That way you have a chance to watch it before I join the live stream. And my first ever power rankings video. And with my power rankings video, everybody agrees that I got 1 through 32, 100% correct. I was talking about Philly and Washington. Philly's offense looks a little off. The defense looks good despite the 31. It's funny because Jerry Jones, because Dallas plays San Francisco Sunday night, and that's going to be a great game. And Jerry Jones said, the road through the NFC goes through San Francisco. And I'm like, isn't Philly undefeated? Eagles are still going through the growing pains of a new offensive coordinator. Same thing happened in 2021 with Steichen. The offense is pretty stale. Yeah. As long as you're aware, I mean, the defense looks like it could be good. I didn't get a chance to watch the full game. I saw the highlights. I watched the final couple minutes where Washington tied the game up in the last play of the game. And keep in mind, even if Washington won, I'm not going to tell you that the Eagles still aren't the best team in the NFC East, which I think they are. I think Dallas is close though. Dallas is going to play the best teams really good. That Dallas San Francisco game is going to be a lot of fun. But when I look at Philly, I'm like, ooh, man. I love this, by the way. At least you have to upgrade with Desi. By the way, don't be surprised if Desi ends up getting a head coaching job very, very soon. And I love how Keys can't stand poo-poo. I love it. The only thing we could do good, though, is absolutely dominate time possession. Yeah, you can. And then A.J. Brown is so good. Devontae Smith is solid too. It's funny because I keep trying to say Devontae Smith's a number 2, but I really think he could be a number 1 all by himself. But AJ Brown is just dominant. And by the way, that was a move that Mike Vrabel, the head coach of Tennessee, was pissed. I mean, he was really pissed. He did not want to lose AJ Brown. He really didn't. And it was a great move by Philly getting him. Great move. Pew Pew would never blitz. Oh, God. I love it. I love it. I love it. To give him credit, I think he's doing better as the Cardinals head coach than I expected. But when he gets that rookie class in next year and what they do in this offseason, we're going to have to see what he can do. Oh, and if Smith was with Mahomes and that receiver, he'd probably – if Smith was with Razones and that receiver, he'd probably serious question, though, when Jason retires, how much does that set back Philly's offense? I don't think it does. What they did is that last year they drafted Cam Jurgens, who was – a lot of people thought he could have gone in the first round. He was easily the best center, really talented kid out of Nebraska. He's playing guard this year. So what they're going to have to do is that he's going to step in and he's going to be they're not going to lose too much at the center position. The problem they're going to have is replacing the guard. Cam Jurgens can do a lot of what Jason Kelsey can do. It's going to be a leadership thing, but I think that they'll be okay. I don't think it's really – I seriously – and, God, I feel like such a dick saying it. God, Keys makes me out to be a dick. Keys makes me out to be a dick. I know it's not your fault, but I don't think it's going to hurt. I really don't. I think they've been preparing for this. I really think they've been preparing for this, and I think Jurgens will step in and play center really well. It's a lot easier to replace a guard than a center. What I'm scared about is that who they may replace him at guard would be a guy that's going to make a lot of money. I think this offseason is going to be a guy that very well, Keys, Trey Smith. And in Philly's offense, which is more run heavy, he'll be dominant. This is awesome. If Smith was with that receiving core, Mahomes, he'd probably be in top 5 conversions. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I got like Devontae Smith would be really good. And by the way, these Chiefs receivers are young, but and there's been talk. I don't understand it because there's all this Justin Ross hype, and he only gets in for like 1 or 2 plays. But 2 weeks ago, he got in, he caught the ball, and then it's like, now we don't want you in. And I don't know what's going on. So yeah, I by the way, Trey Smith is for those of you who don't know his story. Chiefs have a Pro Bowl guard named Trey Smith, who was a starter since day 1. He was drafted in the 6th round. Reason why is that he was either a blood or heart condition that made it so he could only practice once a week and he could play. But due to this medical condition, he couldn't practice throughout the week. He could only play and practice once a week. But if you watch him on tape, it's a first-round player all day. So most NFL teams took him off the board. Well, it turned out to be due to a medical – I don't know the specifics, but before the draft, they found the right medication that worked with NFL guidelines, and that's a big deal because you could go to GNC and buy about 20 different products that would have you fail an NFL drug test. So they figured out the medication that works for him. No problems in the NFL whatsoever. The Chiefs drafted him and are getting a first-round caliber player. This is a guy who's getting 6th-round money but should be making a lot of money going forward. This is a guy who's going to get paid probably this offseason. Unfortunately, it probably won't be with Kansas City. But Mantrea is getting abused a little. You are right. If you were to say, like, if you ran an offense like Philly or Baltimore and you were to say, God, build me a guard, it's Trey Smith. He's 6'4", he's 330, can bench press a dump truck. He's a little slow. Quicker, faster guys give him a little bit of problem. And and Kansas City has a pass first offense, which is not really his strength. But if you put him with a run first offense, he's one of the best guards in football. And he's still one of the best guards in football in Kansas City's pass heavy offense. But it's also the reason why I'd like to see the Chiefs run the ball a little more, because this Trey Smith in the run game is just amazing. And he's going to get a lot of money, I think, this offseason. Now, his contract, he's still got one more year, but whoever's representing him, hopefully it's not the guys representing Chris Jones, is telling him, just sit out and don't even play. And that's probably what's going to happen. So ideally the Chiefs, if they're smart, give him an extension now. I'm not trying to boast, but one-on-one Jalen Carter, he's probably getting thrown on his tush. Actually, it's funny because they highlighted no, not Jalen Carter. I'm sorry. They highlighted him against Jordan Davis, and he could hold his own. And by the way, I'm telling you, no, he wouldn't. Trey Smith could hold his own against Jalen Carter as far as a bull rush. But that's not an insult against Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter's been phenomenal. I do yeah. It's funny because last year on the Back Talk Brothers, and I don't have a link, but if you go to channels I follow, there's only two I really promote, and that's a Luke G field review, and it's the Back Talk Brothers. Back during rookie training camp, these guys were going on and on about Isaiah Pacheco, and I said, listen, he'll make the team. He's not going to be that good. He's not the guy you think he is. And they kept on saying that this is a guy who's going to end up being the starter. And I kind of poo-pooed it. I kind of chuckled. I was like, you guys are buying into this hype. And I didn't believe them. The Back Talk Brothers and my boy Keys were the ones that have been going on and on and on about Pacheco. You're not the only one, Slasher. You're not the only one. I knew about him coming out of Rutgers, okay? And I knew he was, even though he's a 7th round pick, I'm like, hey, this guy's going to make the team. He's going to contribute. I didn't think he would be that good. I really didn't think he would be that good. Jordan Davis, he could probably stack. If you watch the tape of Carter, though, he's literally unblockable. Yeah, he's been getting double teamed, and we're going to see it. Philly plays Kansas City. There'll be a one-on-one with Trey Smith against Jalen Carter. I guarantee you. And by the way, Jalen Carter is just playing lights out. I love it. I love it. We've actually been running a little bit of variety, surprisingly. 13 zone runs, 5 counters, 4 pin and pull, toss, 1 trap, 3 jet sweep, 1 Kelsey QB read, and 1 power. And Keys is right, because that's Andy Reid runs the most complex. I'm going blurry again. All right, there it is. Kansas City runs the most complex offense in the NFL. That's not a debate. You can try to tell me that your team runs a more complex offense. You would be. I know I'm sounding like a homer here. Trust me, Kansas City runs the most complex offense in the NFL. It's funny because some people think that their offenses are complex and they're really not. Like San Francisco, it's not a complex offense at all. It's San Francisco runs one of the most simplified offenses in the NFL. So does Miami. A lot of people think Miami's offense is complex. It's not. It's really not. It's really not at all. It's just that they do a lot of window dressing, but it's basically the same group of plays. With Kansas City, it's completely varied all the time. By the way, what Keys is referring to is that they let the Eagles get Jalen Carter, and I blame the Bears. The Bears were in perfect position. They traded down. They got that 4th round draft pick, and if I'm correct, they used that on the defensive lineman, by the way. I could be wrong. They drafted 3 defensive linemen, but passed up taking Jordan Davis. So, oh yeah, Chiefs, Eagles, both teams fresh off a bye on Monday Night Football. Oh yeah, it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a great game. Keys, the Bears would probably be getting a lot less slack right now if they didn't pass. I want. You know what? I'm going to go out of order. I was going to kind of go through the rest of these games. And I'm going to tell you, I do want to look at Thursday night football because I'm going to tell you this right now. If Washington beats Chicago convincingly, and I'm not talking like by more than 10 points, like the score could be 27-22, let's just say 27-24, but they convincingly beat them, and the Bears don't look like they're – it wouldn't surprise me if Friday Matt Eberflus is fired. Matter of fact, that's kind of my prediction, is that I think after Thursday night football and maybe Friday and maybe that Monday, I think we're going to see Matt Eberflus, unless the Bears win. And don't get me wrong, it could be a close game where the Bears look well coached and prepared and Washington just makes a play and wins. But I think the Bears are going to lose that game, and I think Eberflus will be fired. I really do. I think they also had to draft they had the number one pick in the draft. By the way, this is a good point, Slasher, who's playing with arguably worse talent than Fields and playing 10 times better. And you're right. I mean, who would you rather have, DJ Moore or Nico Collins? Now, Collins is younger, maybe a better athlete, 6'4", 210, runs a 4.4. I don't know DJ Moore's size speed off the top of my head, but I look at the Chase Claypool situation is also weird. Also very weird. If you're not aware, he's a healthy scratch, and now they don't even want him practicing on the team. That's just weird. Remember, they gave up what ended up being the 33rd pick in the draft to get him. Trade deadline day, whatever you want to call it, last year. Steelers used that pick on Joey Porter Jr. He's been playing okay. He'll get there, though. I think Joey Porter Jr., he's a guy I'm looking at like later on this year and next year really moving forward. But, yeah. Just for fun, Dan, if you were the Chiefs, will you have offered Chris Jones and your 2023 first for the Bears pick this April? And if you're the Bears, would you have taken it? If I'm the Chiefs, no. If I'm the Bears, God, what pick would that have been? What Kansas City had? So Kansas City would have had 31. Okay, let me see here. So this is if you were the Chiefs, would you offer Chris Jones and 31? For the number one pick in the draft. If I'm the Chiefs, you know what? I may flip that. God, that's a good one. Because if I'm Kansas City, so if I'm Kansas City, no. Okay, let me go back. I would say no. I wouldn't want the number one pick in the draft. But all right, let me flip this around here. I'm sorry. Let me do this here. The 9th pick overall in the draft, 31 for 9, and you get Chris Jones if you're the Bears. So the Bears get Chris Jones. They get the 31st pick in the draft. And the Bears, let's just say the Bears drafted FAU, they would have been set on their front 7. All right. That would have been good. If I'm the Chiefs, would I do it? God, that's such a good question. Because my instant reaction is no, but when I break it down, I would have loved that. I would rather have Jalen Carter than Chris Jones, and be able to build with other players. That's what I would like. If I'm the Bears, though, I probably don't take it. And the reason why is that salary cap, they spent all that money in free agency. They would have to give Chris Jones a ton of money. So it's just a weird contract. But, my first reaction is no and no. But now that I'm thinking about it, if I'm the Chiefs, you get Jalen Carter. Now keep in mind, you are losing FAU, who it hasn't looked bad, but with Karlaftis and everybody, I don't know. I'm on level with you. I love the way Jalen Carter's playing. I think he's playing amazing, like Pro Bowl level. But Chris Jones is better. DJ Moore all day long with a good quarterback. He can be dangerous. I agree there, man. I mean, Nico Collins has a lot of physical tools. A lot of physical tools. But yeah, you put CJ Stroud and what he's doing with the Houston. You just switch CJ Stroud, put him on Bears. Like, that's a dangerous team. Yeah, I liked Sam Darnold, and it was like weird situation. He had mono, and he was out for a couple of weeks, and I think he caught COVID and had something else. It was really weird. Yeah, the Claypool situation is really weird. I like putting some. Yeah, seriously, it was really weird because I watched Chase Claypool play at Notre Dame, and I never saw the potential. I never saw it. And I was like, he's a big receiver. I remember he went to the combine, ran a 4.4. Like, I didn't see it. And I remember he had his rookie season. He had I think one game he had 4 touchdowns, and he had these splash plays. And I was like, this might be something. And it just started diving downhill. The thing is with Claypool is that he doesn't want to play tight end. He doesn't want to block. He has a lackadaisical attitude, and that's a damn shame because here's a dude who's 6'4", 240, runs a 4.4. He ran a 4.4 at the combine. I think he ran 4.41 at the combine. It's funny. I talked about Nico Collins, who's 30 pounds lighter. So look at Nico Collins. I'm pulling. I got ESPN pulled up right here. Nico Collins had 168. And Nico Collins, 6'4", 210, runs like a 4.4. Claypool's 30 pounds heavier and can do everything that Nico Collins can do. And for whatever, it's just a shitty attitude. But yeah, I mean, another name freeze, the former quarterback. The former Virginia Tech quarterback who's the tight end in Washington. I can't believe I can't think of his name. Somebody like that. Yeah. I'd like it. Claypool's one of these guys that has all the talent in the world. And I think he's got 5 cent head. I mean, look, I understand you're frustrated, but I mean, you're in a weird situation. And, it's just, I mean, what do you do? I mean, let's say you take, I mean, let's say you move on. I mean, where would you put him at that he'd be happy? I mean, I understand you're with, some bad some bad offenses. I mean, could he, what would he, seriously, the first team I'm thinking about is the Rams. But if I'm the Rams, I don't want to deal with that shit. I mean, I look at a team like Kansas City, but I don't, again, I don't want to see it. It's just such a shame because, yeah, by the way, Keith, so much physical potential. You could not be more correct. Kansas City could turn the first overall pick into 2 first-round picks. Yeah, well, yeah. Well, I was saying originally that's what I was thinking, but I switched the terms. I just made it up, and I went 30 to or was it 30 or 31? I think it was 31 to 9. That was what I was thinking. That would the Chris Jones picks. Yeah. Well, I think it was 31, but if you're looking at 31 to 1, but I'm looking at it like 31 to 9, and that. Wouldn't be bad. I mean, to tell you the truth, 31 to 9. Is it 30 or 31? I'm pretty sure it's 30. Yeah, it's 31. Yeah, so 31 to 9. Chris Jones. And now Chicago spent $100 million on inside linebackers. The thing is with the Bears that drives me nuts is that they drafted Gervin Dexter, a defensive tackle from Florida, who I love, but is not a guy who's getting after the quarterback. All right. And they drafted a guy in the 7th round, kind of a project pick. I understand. I think that 4th round pick that they used to trade with that 4th round pick's for next year, so it didn't even count. That's a great, by the way, Keys, that's a fantastic question. And it's something that my initial reaction would be no, but I don't know. Now I'm like, I don't know. It would probably be a quarterback. Yeah, I get you. Tyreek was blocking in the Bills game. Yeah, Tyreek Hill's been playing pretty damn good, and he's been a lot of fun. I can't wait for the Chiefs-Dolphins game. It's going to be fun. And I think Pete's going to be a good guest. Yeah, dude, you're 100% correct. I just remember watching him at Notre Dame. I never saw it. And then I saw at the Combine the 4.4 speed, and I was like, I watched him play several times at Notre Dame. Didn't have that at Notre Dame. And it's just frustrating. It's just frustrating. Emmanuel Forbes says, yeah, I saw that. And the thing is, Emmanuel Forbes, for those of you that don't know, I love Emmanuel Forbes, but he was chosen 16th and Christian Gonzalez was 17th, and there's no justification for that. And I love Emmanuel Forbes. But Emmanuel Forbes played college ball. He's 6'1", 160. All right. I think he was listed at like 170. I think at the Combine he was like 169. So if he came to the Combine at 169, he probably played under 160. For those of you who don't know, Emmanuel Forbes had 6 interception returns for touchdowns in his Mississippi State career, all-time NCAA record, and he's a player that I really liked. He wasn't near as good as Christian Gonzalez. He's not near the prospect. And Forbes is going to be a good NFL corner. He's not going to be on Christian Gonzalez's level. And by the way, I don't know the extent of Gonzalez's injury, but yeah. 30. I thought you said 30. That's what threw me. No, I'm not saying you go 31 plus Chris Jones. Okay. No, I'm saying that going from 31 plus Chris Jones up to 9 would be giving up the value of 30 plus 31. So you're valuing CJ as pick number 30. Oh, okay. I get what you're saying. Yeah. Christian Gonzalez falling to Belichick was another head scratching. What are you doing? Yeah, exactly. It was. I loved it. Keon White is another guy that once, if he figures it out, and it's going to be like 1 or 2 years in that defense, but when he does figure it out, Keon White, there's no ceiling on that guy either. He's the 2nd round pick, a guy I fell in love with when I started watching him. And take a look at Josh Uche. He's a guy like did almost nothing for a year or 2, and then last year had like 15 sacks. I think it was 15 and a half. For the Patriots. But yeah, Christian Gonzalez, though, has come in day 1 and has been the best secondary player on the Patriots. Yeah. Speaking of the Patriots, you have 3 moves to fix their offense. What are they? Number one, first thing I would do is I think they like Trent Brown on the left side. I think that what they really need to do, and the guy I'm targeting in the draft is I can't think of his name, but the left tackle, Joe Alt would be a good one. The left tackle out of Penn State, I think he's going to be a top 5 pick. I would plug and play that guy, even though he'll make some mistakes and have some problems early on. I would get an elite left tackle, move Trent Brown, who they like on the left side. I would move him back on the right side. All right. Joe Thuney coming to Kansas City was a big problem. They have not fixed it. The offensive line has some problems. So I would go that number 1. Number 2, I hate to say it, and we've got a lot of time, but from what I've seen, I would move on from Mac Jones. I really would. This is the draft to do it. So the problem is the way I have the draft ironed out for the Patriots. Let's say, I mean, they're 1-3 right now. So let's say they pick top 10. There's some really good left tackles, right? Get a monster left tackle, move Trent Brown to the right side. I think they like Brown on the left, but that's what I would do. Okay. Put Trent Brown on the right, get a stud on the left. And they got some really good left tackles. The kid out Penn State's probably going to be left tackle number 1. And in this draft, you may be able to trade up and get him somewhere between 6 and 10. I'll be honest with you. Weird things happen in the draft. We were just talking about like Christian Gonzalez. A lot of people thought he'd go 6 to Detroit. He ended up going 17. There's always weird things like that. But this left tackle, and I'm drawing his name's like Easy, something like this guy is going to go probably top 10. If the Patriots can, that's what I would do. I'd also strongly consider moving on from Mac Jones. I would get somebody different. His rookie season, I thought they got him. And then last year, I remember he just looked pissed at Patricia. So it's like, okay, it's him and Patricia. Yeah, I know. You 3 years, 3 offensive coordinators. It's tough. I get it. It's just, there's something. I don't see it. I just don't see it. So that would be number 2. And then I like their tight ends. Hunter Henry's been a nice addition. Juju Smith-Schuster's been okay. You got to get a number 1. And it's funny because like who's their number 1? It's probably Hunter Henry. You got to get number 1 receiver. That's what I would do. And I would do it in that order too. I would go left tackle. Sure, get the best possible offensive lineman. Okay, fix that offensive line. When they lost Thuney, the offense kind of just started to unravel. And there's a lot of different things, but Thuney was key. I would go left tackle. I would go quarterback. And quarterback subject to change. If Mac Jones picks it up, and it's just a question of getting on the right page with Bill O'Brien's offense. A lot of people think that Bill O'Brien and Mac Jones worked together in Alabama. They did not. They did not. That's kind of a misconception. Mac Jones was in the NFL when Bill O'Brien was at Alabama. A lot of people think that they were together. They weren't. So they have some time to get together. But from what I've seen so far, if this trend continues, then I would go quarterback number 2, and then number 3 is get a guy who could be a number 1. They need a number 1. They need a go-to guy. And the reason why I say that is because I like the running back. I like that 1-2 combo. I like Hunter Henry. I like Juju Smith-Schuster if he can stay healthy. I mean, both know that's a big if, but that's what I'm looking at. Yeah, he's seriously, he weighed in. I'm not joking. 169, probably played it under 160. He does have good ball skills, and he's going to put on some weight, but he's always going to be a thin dude. He's also going to be a guy that you don't want going against. He's a guy that want him going against Devontae Smith. That's what you do. Quarterback, wide receiver, interior guard. I'd say left tackle. Cole Strange is a bust. I'd say too because I like him out. I don't think he's a bust. I think he's actually been playing good. It's the other guard position, and then the center I think was hurt as well. They've had problems with the tackle position. They basically went Trent Brown to the right side. Now they got him to the left side, and they've had some problems on that offensive line. I don't blame Cole Strange. I thought he's been playing pretty well, to be honest with you. But they need to fix that offensive line first. And then after that, figure out what to do with the quarterback situation. Like I was talking about a Drew Lock. If I'm New England, I'd rather go with Drew Lock than Mac Jones. I don't like what I've seen from Mac Jones so far. I just don't like it. But we got 13 weeks. And if he shows improvement, then okay, good. Then get him a quarterback and number 1 receiver, and we'll go from there. Or when you say number 1 wide receiver, they got Hunter Henry, Brock Bowers, the tight end out of Georgia is probably going to go top 10, maybe even top 5. Maybe do that. But I like Hunter Henry enough that I'd really like to get an outside threat, somebody you could really work with. I really think that offense needs a number 1 wide receiver. I think they're good at tight ends. Juju Smith-Schuster's a bigger receiver, great on intermediate. I think they just need a number 1 dude. I really believe that. I think if the Patriots had to do it all over again, they give Hopkins a blank check, I agree with that. I mean, it just that offense is so hard to watch. It really is, and he's helping Tennessee win games. Tennessee's 2-2 right now. Without Hopkins, I really think that now keep in mind, I'm fully aware Derrick Henry had a big game and everything, but without Hopkins, I would not be surprised the Titans were 0-4. Oh God, that's a good one. That's a good one, man. That's a good one. I know what you're saying. I like Cole Strange. I just do. And I know he's been banged up. I know PFF doesn't like him. I've heard other people say that, but I like him. I don't think he's replaceable. I think he's a fine starter, but they need to get somebody else. I'm going to go back to the other ones, but anyway, I'm going to read all comments here. Tampa against the Saints. This was in New Orleans, and Tampa won this game convincingly. And Baker Mayfield, this just floors me that you lose Brady and you get better. But they held the Saints to 9 points, and I understand the Saints offense is really struggling, but you went on the road against a divisional opponent, and you held them to 9. I hope from what I'm seeing in Tampa is real because I think it's fun. And if I'm Baker Mayfield, I stay in Tampa and I take that friendly contract and I say, look, I got a good defense. I got some good receivers. They get somebody to help out Rachaad White, a bigger back. They got some holes in the offensive line too. Stay in Tampa, build a winner, have some fun. Whoever's representing Baker Mayfield, I tell him, I say, look, I know you can. I'm going to be honest with you. Baker probably is not going to stay in Tampa. He's probably not. He's probably going to leave and try to be a starter, probably try to go somewhere else. And I think it's a mistake. If I'm Baker Mayfield, stay in Tampa. I watched Tennessee in that game, 2nd and 2, 3rd and 2, and 4th and 2 on one set of downs, passed the ball 3 straight times. I know early on they ran a lot of Derrick Henry, and I don't know. I didn't watch that game, to be honest with you, but I know Derrick Henry early on they gave the ball a lot to, and they like to do this where they think they're being smart. Even though Tennessee's 2-2 and the defense is playing really damn good football, I think it's just a matter of time before we see Will Levis take over. And that's really what needs to happen. So, no, he's not benched. He's just had some bad problems. I can't buy into Baker. He's a solid game manager, but once you get in the playoffs, I love big game. And at DC forces Baker to beat you, he's finished. That's why I don't think it's going to last. I really think that what Tampa Bay is going to do is try to move on, whether it's via the draft or maybe free agency. And Baker, I think, might want to go somewhere a little more high profile in Tampa. It's a small media market. He may want to prove that he's the guy again. But if I'm Baker, if he has the opportunity to stay in Tampa, I take it. If I'm Tampa Bay, I actually would stay with Baker Mayfield and try to fix the rest of the team because they have a few issues on offense. That defense is good. And remember this offseason, both Devin White and Levante David were trying to leave. They were unhappy. You're not hearing that now. They're 3-1. They're in first place in that division. And by the way, I think Todd Bowles, if they go 11, let's just say they go 11-6 and they win the South, okay? You get in the playoffs and losing in the first round. I think that's a win for Bowles. I think he keeps his job. And I could understand him wanting to, the general manager, not him. I think Bowles is a defensive type of coach. And he's former defensive coordinator. I think he's old school. I think he wants a game manager. And I think Baker is best at just being a game manager. The problem is with Tampa is that Rashad White, as much as I love him, he's not the type of guy that, hey, we're going to give you the ball 30 times a game. We're going to win. He's not that type of dude. But that defense is good. And I look, right now, the best team in the NFL is Kansas City Chiefs. Still, I mean, until somebody beats them, they're the best team, right? Yeah, Patrick Mahomes. The Eagles got to the Super Bowl last year with a guy who could have won MVP very easy. So you want that elite quarterback. But the thing is that, I mean, they're winning, and it's an old school method that, believe it or not, it does work. But the last several years, you have to have a superstar quarterback to win, and that's usually what you think. But if I'm Tampa Bay, I don't do it. But that's going to be fun to watch because I think Baker wants to leave. I don't think Bowles really is sold on him, but it's working. It's going to be a real great offseason. And Keys this is 100% correct. No, he isn't benched. Rumor, I haven't heard Andy directly say it, is that Reed pulled Taylor, put in the backup, and told him to set back as far as Taylor, see if the rest would call. The NFL is clearly targeting him, but he's being pretty annoying by knowing it and still pushing through the limits in regards to the alignment. The snap timing stuff is driving me nuts, though, because we all know Lane Johnson and the rest of the big boys are doing it before Taylor was born. This is an old school thing, by the way, where the tackles jump, and it kind of sucks because Lane Johnson. It was funny because I did play-by-play for the Detroit game. I'm doing play-by-play for all the Chiefs games, and it didn't stand out to me. You could. I know what you're saying. Oh, Dan, you're a Chiefs fan. No, it just didn't stand out. People said he was doing it against the Chiefs when he was with Jacksonville. Chiefs played Jacksonville twice, and people were saying he did the same thing against Kansas City. I didn't notice it. Me and Keys disagree. I thought he caused the safety by the face mask. Keys says it started outside. I thought it was inside. But if you take away all the false starts, he hasn't been playing like lights out. And which, when you give him that type of money, he should have been. That's funny and sounds like an Andy thing to do. I hope they understand it's not illegal to keep your left foot planted in the ground before the ball is snapped. Denver Gator, sorry so late. Family visit. I'll stay in the chat. And hey, Denver Gator, I'm just glad you're here, brother. It's always good to see you here, man. Maybe Taylor's not completely perfected it yet, but he's getting called. But there has been a lot of controversies surrounding penalties called with the Chiefs lately. Here's the deal, and I don't get it because the people are complaining about the Sauce Gardner penalty. That's a no-brainer. There's no complaint that should have been made. I mean, he was holding on to the guy. To be honest with you, against the Bears, I was mad because George Karlaftis had his jersey grabbed like this in the end zone. That should have been a safety. That was an obvious mistake. Nobody bitched about that. Now, keep in mind, Chiefs won 41-10. They're up 31, or is it 34-0 at halftime? So who cares? But there's missed calls at each game. I still don't know why Sauce Gardner was bitching. I mean, and people are trying to read into it. They're trying to make something of it. And here's the deal. If Taylor Swift wasn't at that game, nobody would have bitched about that interception call. That's all it is. And I can't connect the dots together. And so believe me, don't believe me. That's, what have you. But the only reason – this is going to sound you're not going to believe me, Slasher, but the only reason you're getting these controversies is because of the attention the Chiefs are getting due to Taylor Swift. And I know that sounds crazy. I know you're saying, Dan, you lost your damn mind. Do you realize the type of attention that's being placed on the NFL, the additional attention just due to Taylor Swift? I know a Taylor Swift fan. These people are nuts. You may think we're junkies. The whole Taylor Swift thing it's really weird. It's really weird. And even though I'm enjoying it, it's bringing a lot of attention to the Kansas City Chiefs that wasn't there. And there's a lot of haters. Now, more than before, you have the best team in the NFL for the last couple of years. You add Taylor Swift, and you're going to get controversy. That's all it is. Taylor Swift was not in attendance at Jets game, nobody would be bitching about that. I assume Andy was the same in Philly slasher in regards to not saying much of anything about the refs and penalties so he can keep his cheeseburger. But he's been outspoken. By the way, that is true because Andy Reid's always had a line of – he's actually said this in multiple press conferences when people try to goad him into making a comment against a referee. He's always said, look, I like my money. I don't want to get fined. But he's been adamant that this is a bunch of bullshit. And it is. When it starts to blatantly ruin his offensive drives, you know it's going to grind. Yeah, absolutely. No slasher. He got never called for it before coming to Kansas City in the 3. It was 4, really. Years he played with Jags. Joey Bosa was crying about both things in the playoffs last year. No call, no noise. Exactly. There was nothing until Collinsworth and Tirico started making a big deal. Now, keep in mind, I do play-by-play during the Chiefs game, so I didn't listen to it. I didn't want to watch the rebroadcast of the Lions. But I know that there's somebody on Twitter. I'm not going to promote her, but she does these like joke parody things, and she made a big deal out of it. Of course, she was a Lions fan. But this has been going on for a long time, and I watched the game. Yeah, I'm a Chiefs fan. All right. I really wanted the Chiefs to beat the Lions desperately. I really wanted that game. I'm still mad about it. Yeah, I'm happy we're 3-1. But yeah, I really wanted to win that game. I just didn't see anything weird about it. I really didn't. Right, you can readjust the right leg as often as you want and just so happen in time to adjustment with the snap of the ball. It was a big deal with Lane last year, too. He's been doing it for years. Honestly, who cares, man? It's not like he's jumping out of stance and moving back to get a better angle. Lane Johnson, if you put Lane Johnson and Juwan Taylor side by side, it's the same thing. It really is. I forget the game team, but there's a clip where the whole offensive line moved before the center even started to snap the past weekend. I think I saw the same thing, but that was before Taylor Swift bullshit. But yeah, the NFL truly is scripted. The Chiefs make it go back to the Super Bowl and Taylor Swift. Oh, man. If the NFL is scripted, then the Chiefs will repeat as Super Bowl champs. Yeah. And I heard a weird rumor, and I don't know because I don't watch it anymore. I did watch one when Travis Kelce hosted, and he was really good. But I don't know how old you are, Slasher, but I'm gonna assume I'm older than you. Like when I was growing up, Saturday Night Live was like the funniest thing I've ever seen. They had some of these, like it was just phenomenal. They had such talent. And when I watch Saturday Night Live now, it's not good. The Travis Kelce show was actually pretty damn good. So there's a rumor that Taylor Swift's either going to sing or host Saturday Night Live in the upcoming weeks. And now the big rumor is Travis Kelce going to make an appearance. And by the way, the Chiefs bye week is in November. It could all sync up. And by the way, Taylor Swift did host Saturday Night Live a couple of years ago, and she was actually pretty funny. I'll give her credit. It was a long time ago, but she was actually pretty good. The singing, I skipped past that part, but it was funny. She was really funny. I was kind of surprised. She was in a skit where her and her best friend were obsessed with each other, and they kept on blowing off the boyfriend, who was Andy Sandberg, who's also like when he left Saturday Night Live, kind of took a big dip. But yeah, she was pretty funny. So was Katy Perry when she was on. All I'm saying is that NBC, yeah, Aiden Hutchinson's. I didn't get that at all. Aiden Hutchinson's parents in the stand mic'd up week 1. He wasn't beating Taylor like they were expecting. Trico and Colin. You know what? God, I forgot about that, Keys, because yeah, they had his parents mic'd up. They kept on going back to his parents, and they were trying to, because like the big hype before the game was that, the two players that are the biggest stars for both teams is Aiden Hutchinson and Patrick Mahomes. And Hutchinson, I mean, don't get me wrong, he was disruptive and he had a good game. I think he ended up with a half a sack or something, but oh man, it's my boy Tim. Tim, by the way, in the description below is both my videos. Do check them out if you get a chance. Great show tonight. Hey, I saw Brady Cook, MU quarterbacks, thrown 326 straight passes, no interception, new SEC record. Big deal or no deal? It actually is a big deal because he's one of the many quarterbacks that's being talked about. And I don't know if he's a redshirt sophomore, junior, or senior, but I know there is some talk about Brady Cook in NFL circles. And if he's able to stay out of this draft, because this draft's loaded, but this is a guy who's getting some NFL attention. You are correct. However, like the NFL list that I saw actually right before I came on, it's like 14th or 15th. And that's hard when you're drafted that high, that low. If there's a list of 15 draftable quarterbacks and you're 14 or 15, that was what I was looking at. You're not going in the first 3 or 4 rounds. You're not. He might end up. I have not watched MU play. But here's a guy who may have a 3rd or 4th round grade who go in like round 7. And could he be somebody like Brock Purdy? The one thing about Brock Purdy was that 2 quarterbacks went down before he got his opportunity. If Trey Lance doesn't get hurt, then Jimmy Garoppolo probably takes over. If Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't get hurt, we don't even know who Brock Purdy is. You have to have the opportunity. Now, I saw something that it's almost better to go and be an undrafted free agent than to be a late round pick, because you can pick and choose your situation. But a guy like Brady Cook, let's look at I talked about this earlier. I talked about New England. Get a guy like Brady Cook, fifth round, let's just say 5th round pick. Let's just have some fun. But 5th round. Tom Brady was 6th. He goes to New England, right? He goes to New England, and Mac Jones gets hurt, and Brady Cook comes in. Could he end up being like the next Tom Brady? Why not? Why not? He gets drafted by the Jets in the 7th round when Rodgers comes back, and Rodgers goes down again, and Zach Wilson's no longer there. Brady Cook comes in, becomes the star of the Jets. Why not? Is it a big deal? The 326 in the SEC, it's a great college record. And MU's not playing. MU's been recruiting pretty well, but they're in the SEC. They're not recruiting the top levels of SEC talent. I haven't watched enough of them to tell you one way or another. Is it impressive? Yeah. Does it say something? Yeah. And the NFL teams are talking about this kid. So hopefully it gives you the answer. I kind of went on a rant there. Honestly, I don't know, though. I don't want to say anything because it is Buffalo and only regular season, but looks like a legitimate threat to Kansas City. And repeating, I'm going to tell you something. I did my power rankings video. Please check it out. It's pretty short and sweet. I think Buffalo right now is the best team in the AFC. I think Miami's the 2nd best team in the AFC. And then I have Kansas City. I think Miami and Buffalo are both threats to Kansas City. I think they're both better teams right now. Now, Kansas City gets a Montague back after week 6, and that's going to be dangerous because the defense is getting better and better. Chris Jones getting better and better. That young secondary is getting better and better. And when the only problem you have on the Chiefs is that the offense is kind of up and down, we got that Patrick guy. Yeah, we'll be good. So, but yeah, you're 100% correct, though, Slasher. I mean, Buffalo looks awesome right now, and so is Miami. I know they got blown out. I don't care. They look awesome right now. Targeting Jawan Taylor starting in week 2, the stats I gave you of offensive line illegal formation penalties since 2019, where Taylor is number 3 in 4 games behind the whole 2020, 2019 Ravens offensive line, 16, 17 games. Yeah, and what it is that he's being singled out. The Chiefs have got a target on their back, but yeah, he's being targeted. I didn't see it. I still don't see anything. I didn't like the way he played against the Jets. I mean, I know you didn't think it was a safety. I thought it was safety. I wasn't happy with the way he's been playing. I didn't like the contract that he received because he's not a dominant right tackle. At least I don't think he is. But if you get those penalties ironed out, the upside is there. But I mean, the upside's there. I mean, he's got all talent in the world. But when I always looked at him, he played 4 years in Jacksonville. He was an elite. He's got a lot of talent, but I don't know if he's ever going to be that guy who's going to be like Lane Johnson, where he's like the best right tackle in football. Penei Sewell for Detroit probably is the best right tackle in football. Like, he's not that guy. And I think the Chiefs really did not do a good job in giving him $80 million. I didn't like that at all. But yeah, he's being targeted, and it's something the Chiefs will work on, and it'll get ironed out. It'll get ironed out, but I'm still not happy to give him that much. And then as of right now, it looks like a bad investment. We'll see. Obviously, though, just like Dallas, they crash and burn every time. But, you know, it's funny. They do, but they also have a lot of talent. And if they get motivated and they're ready to play, and they get a few plays go that way, then yeah. James, what's up, brother? Yeah, I'm on every Tuesday now. Every Tuesday now. So I'm glad to see you here, man. I'm going to be Tuesday, Friday, and every Chiefs game. So noon Sunday for Chiefs and Vikings. I originally was trying to get I'm not going to say who it is, but there was a Vikings YouTuber. I've been following him for a couple of years. I hit him up. He agreed to come on a show. I was trying to get the details ironed out. Didn't want to reach out. And I don't do that verified Twitter. So like I couldn't DM him there. He uses Reddit, which I'm not gonna. I don't fuck with Reddit. But I put some comments in his YouTube channel, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna hit you up." He goes, "I'm gonna hit you up. I'm gonna come on," and I never heard back from him. So I was kind of frustrated because one thing that sucks about YouTube is that you do got to rely on other people. When Luke G comes on, he's awesome. Keys is just an amazing guest. And if you're ever a guest on my show, I give you an outline of the questions I'm going to ask. Keys is the only one that I can just like, hey, Keys, come on, and not have anything, and he's ready. And I love that about Keys. And he's always been great and putting some great comments in there today. And the best part about Keys is also the thing that frustrates me most is that he doesn't always agree with me. And that's the best part about this channel is that I don't want everybody to agree with me. And that's one thing I love about Keys. And it's funny because like when we disagree, we're like this far apart, but he brings something that's awesome. And I'm James. I'm glad you're here, man. And you know, you can always DM me. Maybe I should DM you that I'm going on Tuesday. So it's on me, man. I'll take the heat. I agree, Slash. I want to see Bills and Dolphins game too. By the way, the rematch is the last game of the season. The rubber match is the last game of the season. That's a good one. What great job by the NFL. If it's not the last game of the season, it's week 17. I can't remember. I think it's I'm pretty sure it's the last game of the season. One Pride, what's up, man? God, I'm living the dream here, man. I'm living, you know, I say that, but I had a rough day. So they put some new kitchen tile in, and when they put my refrigerator back, they punctured the water main hole. They punctured the water main. And so my kitchen was flooded until about a few hours before I came on. It's good. We're good to go now. And the kitchen tile is phenomenal. It's good. And the guy who did it. It shit happens. You know. It was just you know, you have rough days. I was actually tempted to not do the show because I was just having a rough day, and I'm like, dude, I'm gonna come on. I have some therapy. I didn't have anything really lined up. I normally have an outline. I just kind of said, I'm going to come in, I'm going to talk, I'm going to rant, I'm going to just be bah. And I've got some great questions. Guys have been great. I'm so glad to see you, man. Always glad to see you, brother. I feel bad because the ab workouts you sent me, I haven't been doing, and I've noticed I'm getting a pudge. And so I have these 5.11 pants I got when I was a size 32, and I wore them a few weeks ago, and I'm wondering if I can fit into them. I probably shouldn't share this, but I always carry a gun, and I have an in-waist holster, so like I always I need a little room in my pants. And I didn't wear them for the longest time because I put on some weight. And then this summer I got down, and I'm keeping my weight down. But the last couple of weeks, so my weakness is Chex Mix. I love that stuff, and I actually just ate like the last of it. I've been buying a lot of Chex Mix lately. So far, it seems like McDermott is handling the extra burden of DC duties and everything going on as an upgrade over Frazier. So far, it seems like he's doing a better job than Frazier, which is really amazing. Now, keep in mind, it's early in the season, and yeah, I think Miami's an awesome team and it was an awesome win, but we still got some games to go. Kansas City's going to be a big one. I don't have the Bills' complete schedule down. Matter of fact, I have them winning next week. They go to London. They play Jacksonville. Jacksonville's staying over in London. They have a double dip of London games. That was one thing, by the way. I was really pissed because I had to work Sunday, and I thought that I would be able to watch Jacksonville, Atlanta early, and you have to. I don't have the ESPN Plus or whatever the fuck it was on, so I couldn't watch that game. I really wanted to watch that game, and then I was going to go to the first game. So anyway, enough of my. There's a lot of good games. There's a lot of good games. There was, if you look at the box score and you see 48-20, you see a blowout, but that's not really the case. You can say it's almost about every NFL game, but there's like 2 or 3 plays that go different. And this is a real close game. They play again. It's either the last week of the season or second to last week. I think it's the last week of the season. That's going to be a good game. Buffalo going to London to play Jacksonville could be a trap game. And all 4 of those teams in the AFC South are all 2-2. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Rodgers found a fountain of youth and healing. You know, it's funny. There was some stuff about Aaron Rodgers, and like, if he can come back at all, and the Jets get in the playoffs, watch out. So J-Mo spent his whole suspension. Good, and that's going to be something fun to watch. Detroit this next week. It's going to be fun. Don't overlook Carolina. I know they're 0-4, but don't overlook Carolina. Don't overlook them. By the way, One Pride, watch my video, man. Watch my video. Watch all my picks. I released it at noon. But let me tell you something. I have you winning against Carolina, but don't overlook them. Buffalo running 12P is interesting with Diggs, Davis, Knox, and Kincaid. Cook coming on good. And here's the deal. James Cook is a guy that needed to put on the NFL 20. He came out of Georgia like at 195. And he's got massive upside. He reminds me of his brother, just fresher and younger. And I'm drawing a complete blank, and Denver Gators going to hate me. But, Osiris Torrance, he was a second-round pick out of Bills this year. He adds to their offensive line. He's been playing really well. He's a big reason why that Bills offense is really, upticking. Is that the right word? Upticking. But I love the fact that they are running. If you watch the Bills play, they run a ton of 12 personnel, and Kincaid and Knox are pretty good players. Diggs is a solid number 1. Gabriel Davis is playing for a big contract. I can't remember if he signed a 3-year deal or not. He's either going to be a free agent or he's in like year 2. But I don't consider Gabe Davis a number 1. But when you have those other guys surrounding him, he's a great guy that, a number 2 option. And that's not a bad thing. And eating hot cheese. You know, I seriously, I have been, it didn't occur to me until I like looked in the mirror this morning because I eat some Chex Mix. And what I do is when I get angry or upset, and like I was today, I go to Chex Mix and they've had sales on it. It was like buy 4 of those 9-ounce bags for like $5. And I just couldn't say no. I literally ate all 4 bags in the last couple of days. And then when they get the family size is when that goes on sale for $3, I almost never say no to that. And I need to because like, you know, summer's over now. And by the way, it's beautiful here in Kansas City right now, but in about 3 weeks it's going to be like 20 and shitty. And it's going to be right now I could run. I haven't been, but yeah. Let him have a year or so of Andy. And oh yeah, absolutely. I kind of forgot about Andy Heck, and he's another guy that could possibly leave via free agency for another job. But yeah, I have my opinions, but at the end of the day, Andy Reid and Andy Heck loved him and thought he was worth it. I'm a show me guy, but I have to defer. Yeah, I mean, you got a good point, but it was just frustrating because I never saw the dominance that you would want to have for giving a guy that type of contract. And I didn't like when they gave Frank Clark all that money, but I also thought that he would win them a Super Bowl. I am worried because one of the things the Chiefs I think will address, it wouldn't surprise me if the Chiefs move up in the draft this year and go after a guy who can be an elite left tackle. And me and you both would love to see Joe Alt. I think both of us would love to see Joe Alt. I always wonder how much teams that play each other twice in the season hold back in the first game. I swear some teams shoot their best shot. Yeah, and it's kind of the cat and mouse game, because if you're a team like either Buffalo or Miami and you know you're playing each other the last game of the season, which could have everything on the line, what do you do? And it'll be very interesting. One thing I don't know about Buffalo, but one thing about Miami is a lot of people think Miami's offense is overly complicated. It's really not. They actually don't run a complex offense. It just looks complex. It's really the same plays. It's just a lot of window dressing. And one thing is that I think teams are going to figure out that Miami offense as team goes on. But you have to realize they have so much speed on that team. But Miami is a team offensively. I think as the year goes on, people are going to figure it out. Maybe not. But it's not as complex as it looks to me or you. NFL teams can figure that offense out. It's just at so much speed. With Buffalo, I really don't know, because that 12 personnel is something a little different. I'd have to watch them a few times. I can't tell you. Is it as complex as like Kansas City's? No. Is that a banana in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me, Dan? Actually, it's my holster. I keep it on my side, man. I keep it on my side. Not now, but like, I drive. I probably shouldn't admit this, but yeah, I always carry. We're almost at full strength. And man, I'm proud. I didn't know what your struggle was. I don't want to get into that, but when I did, back when COVID hit, I took a job, and I was actually in good shape through most of COVID. And then I took a job late in 2020 where I was doing working from home, and it was like in November. Well, I don't run in the cold, and I noticed I was putting on weight, so I said, why don't I do a dirty bulk and try to add some muscle and just add some weight, and then I'll trim down. And my goal was to get to 185. Now I'm 5'8", so 185's decent, bigger than I should be. Well, I went from 185 to 200. And 200, I felt like a giant fat fuck. And I dropped from 200 to 170. And during the summer, I'm usually between 160, 165. I do a lot of running. Now, I've been solid 169 for the longest time. I'm going to do more of them. I didn't know your goal was to lose weight, man. I didn't know that. We need to talk more, because I have some good tips, but I've been Got that pudge back. Oh, God. Oh, boy, this is, oh, God. Dan thinks a jugs machine is something that lonely single guys buy at one of those adult novelty stores. God, that's the best comment of the day. Steve McDuffie and Joshua Williams are good tacklers. Be interested to see if we put Williams on one or tight ends when we play. I do see that because Williams is a big dude. I thought, I don't know because I haven't heard, but I remember he came out. He was 6'2", 195, and he played at Fayetteville State. So I wasn't sure if he's a guy that put on weight to be at like 205, 210. He's also a guy, I'm not 100% sure that Joshua Williams' best position isn't safety. But you're right. And one thing about now Joshua Williams, I haven't noticed playing the slot, but Snead and McDuffie can both play in the slot. Both of them can play inside, outside. And that's really unique. Snead's a guy I think we're going to lose in free agency. Williams, I haven't seen play in the slot that much. Justin Watson can. But yeah, when we play Buffalo, I wouldn't be surprised, especially Kincaid, because Kincaid, I don't Kincaid's a wide receiver, not a tight end. Yeah, waffle fries. I used to. There was this place that sweet potato fries that me and my mom like going to, and I took my mom out, and there's two places. There's this Mexican place where my mom gets extra guacamole, takes a spoon, just eats it. And it's really good guacamole. It weirds me out because I like chips and dip, but the other place is this diner that has these amazing sweet potato fries. But yeah, I can't say no to Chex Mix, and I've been eating a lot of it lately. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still look good, but I mean, I got to lose that punch. I read books Bobby Peters wrote on Miami's, Detroit, and Jacksonville's 2022 offenses. I got to read through them, though. Just got them a week. You have to read them. Yeah, I'm going to level with you. Miami's offense, I don't know who that is. I think the name sounds familiar, but I don't know who that is right off the top of my head. I watched Miami play Buffalo. Okay, that offense is not overly complicated, but it looks complex. All right. There's a lot of teams that run what look like complex offenses that it's really not. Like the Shanahan system is not very complex, but there's a lot of window dressing. It looks more complicated, but it's really not. Same thing with Miami. They have a lot of window dressing. It looks confusing. It's really not. The problem is that there's so much speed. It's how you do it. The Chiefs run easily the most complex offense. Detroit, I thought had a good balance when they played us. I felt like a dick because I saw the score and I was pissed because I was so looking forward to it on Thursday night. But I don't think Detroit's it runs a complex off not on the Chiefs level though. I'm a big Walker, but this summer has been played by dude. By the way, if you're not familiar in Kansas, it is the weirdest. This has been the most muggy summer. It was more. You've heard the expression "April flowers make May." Was it April showers make May flowers? Well, it's like all summer. It's been tons of rain. It's muggy as fuck. I mean, Denver Gabe's down Florida. He's shaking his head right now. Okay, it's not Florida level, but it's the worst it's been in the Midwest and the Kansas area in a long time. Yeah. I've had issues with mosquitoes too. It's true. Conspiracy theory, but all the talk that Nasir Johnson was out playing Watson and Williams, it got me thinking that they wanted to see what they could do as a potential Snead replacement. Then he got injured. Yeah, because and by the way, you're 100% correct because this is what teams do is that they're looking at what do you do after this year? And L'Jarius Sneed is a huge. Okay, here's the deal. If I say L'Jarius Sneed, me and you both know he's a really good player. He's not a big name outside of Kansas City, but this is a big physical corner who can play inside and outside. He's a team general managers are circling. And they also know because he's a former fourth-round pick that he's going to demand a big raise. Now, there's going to be Chiefs fans out there that are going to, when he leaves, and he probably is going to leave, they're going to call him greedy, and they're going to, oh, you don't want to play for a winner. We don't want you anyway. Here's a guy who's on a 4th round pick contract, probably not even $1 million a year. And you got, what was it? It was, I just said his name a few minutes ago. Injured in Miami. Jalen Ramsey. Okay. Jalen Ramsey's making, was it 25 something million guaranteed? It's not even playing. 25 million, not even playing, less than 1 million. And Ramsey's not playing inside. I don't think Ramsey plays inside outside either. And I'm gonna level with you. Who do you want on your team? You want a guy like Ramsey, or do you want a guy like L'Jarius Sneed, who works hard, who's humble, who's quiet, who's physical, does everything you want? Or do you want a guy like Ramsey, who just wants to play one-on-one against the best receiver and a me first guy? This is no bullshit. This is no bullshit. People, this is going to sound like I'm the homer here, and fine. If I could give 25 million to Jalen Ramsey, I get 25 million to L'Jarius Sneed, and I could keep everything else the same. Which one I take? I'd probably take Sneed. I think he's that good. And the reason why is that with Jalen Ramsey, you got to use him in one way and one way only. You have him following your best receiver and playing man. I know he makes big plays, and a couple of years ago, the best corner in football, hands down. But L'Jarius Sneed is a guy that does everything: slot, outside, blitz, run. Quiet dude, not a me guy, doesn't attract attention. I love players like L'Jarius Sneed. Love players like L'Jarius Sneed. And he's a guy who's going to make a lot of money, probably going to go somewhere. L'Jarius Sneed got $600K signing bonus. He's making $2.7 million this year, first season, over $895. Okay, so he's in. If I'm reading this right, he's in year 4 of his deal, which I didn't know he was making that much. No, that's actually not bad, but because he's a former 4th round pick, I thought he was making a lot less. I'll take your word for it. I won't look it up, but bottom line, he's looking for a big payday, probably outside of Kansas City's market, because when you're a corner that can do everything that he can do, it gets a lot of money in free agency. There's going to be a lot of Chiefs fans who are going to bitch when he's gone, but it kind of looks like the Chiefs are preparing for it. Remember, they drafted 3 corners last year. They drafted McDuffie, Williams, and Watson. Well, they weren't really expecting that much, but since he played well, then yeah. Correct. Year 4, he'll be 27. Yeah. I guarantee you, every general manager, every assistant general manager position, or I know John Dorsey's not the assistant general manager in Detroit, but he's basically the assistant general manager. As a director of some bullshit, but yeah, they all know who L'Jarius Sneed is, and he's a guy because he can do so many different things. He's a guy that's coveted. This is a guy. I'm not saying this because I'm a Chiefs fan. NFL teams love guys that can do multiple things, that aren't a me first type of guy, and are a team first, that help you win. That can playing inside and outside, and being physical and stuff in the run, and being able to blitz. Those are things that are exceptionally rare when you can do all of those and do all of them well, because it means that you can play any type of defense in the NFL. It doesn't matter if you're 3-4, 4-3. Vic Fangio runs a man-based type of defense. He can play in that defense. Robert Saleh has more of a zone-based defense. He can play there. He can do everything. Every NFL general manager loves guys like this. And you're right, Kansas City is prepared for it. And he is a great blitzer. By the way, Lions are ranked 4th in total defense. You know what? One pride, I kept on telling you over and over and over again. You kept on arguing with me. You kept on telling me I'm wrong. And I kept on telling you Aaron Glenn just needed players. But don't get cocky now. Don't overlook Carolina, because honestly, this is the type of game that you guys would fuck up on. You know, you had your big win, and then you get 0-4 Carolina coming to your crib, and this is the type of game that you fuck up on. Now, please watch my video. I got it in the description. You don't even need to go anywhere. Go to the description. Click on. By the way, watch both videos. I do have Detroit winning. But don't fuck this up, okay? Because by the way, this is a game that Detroit fucks up on, okay? When they don't, they're great at being the underdog. They're great when they're motivated, but when they're favored, I'm kind of like, okay, let's see, because this is the type of game. If you win this game and you win this game convincingly, that's a big step in the maturation. Does it? By the way, if you lose this game, am I backtracking and saying that you're not king of the North? No, I'm not, because you can lose this game and you're okay. You really are. But this is a game that you need to win and take that next step. And L'Jarius Sneed is a fantastic blitzer. I love L'Jarius Sneed, and I'm 100% convinced that he's not going to be a Chief next year. Even with injury. One of the games I flipped around on, I couldn't watch, and I'd love to watch the whole thing. Rams at Indy, and I correctly predicted the Rams win this game, and you could tell me that no, Dan, you were wrong. Gardner Minshew shouldn't start. Anthony Richardson gets that experience. I don't care. I still stand by it. I think they're mismanaging the kid. I know he played well. They came back, if I remember correctly, the score was 20-0. Colts came back, forced overtime, and then Puka Naka, is that the name? Having the greatest rookie wide receiver season of all time, the 5th round pick out of BYU, game-winning touchdown, and it's just amazing. It's just amazing. And the Rams, it was funny. I had Big Chief Sean on here. He said he thought the Rams would be a surprise team in the NFC. And I kind of like, are you sure? Are you sure? They're a team that they get into the playoffs. I mean, there's a lot of holes on that Rams team, but they're going to get Cooper Kupp back. Aaron Donald's still Aaron Donald, and Stafford's a Hall of Famer. So. Oh, God. Ugh. I got him. I got the fly, by the way. Kansas City has the 4th youngest snap-weighted age ranking. New York, Green Bay, Chicago, and its 6th least snap-weighted years of experience. That the Chiefs' defense, and this is what I like, is that they not only are they running kind of a different type of defense, they're doing it with really young players. And the Chiefs' defense is getting really impressive. It could be a revenge game. No. Let me explain this one, Pride. I don't believe in revenge games. I really, really don't. But I thought if there was going to be a revenge game, it would be Green Bay beating Detroit. I really believed that. And I really thought that would be the game they would just go all out in. And they didn't. Detroit came in, punched them right in the mouth. This is a game that I could easily see Detroit overlooking. But is this a revenge game for the Lions? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I can tell you that they're not looking at it that way. And they may say something publicly that they were embarrassed last year when Carolina ran for like 260 or whatever over them. No. It's not a revenge game. But here's the thing, Detroit needs to win this game to get to that next level. Because I think in the NFC, I have San Francisco, Philly, and I think Dallas are at tier 1. And I think at tier 2, you have Detroit and Seattle. Do watch my power rankings video. I have Detroit over Seattle, even though Seattle beat Detroit. If Seattle were to play Detroit in the playoffs, which could happen, because I'd be hard pressed to see Detroit not winning the North, so the game would be in Detroit. I would probably pick Detroit to beat Seattle, even though I'm fully aware they played week 2. Is that making sense? So, yeah, and here's the thing. Every time I've asked you to come on my show, Keys, I can throw you curveballs and you handle it. I don't even worry about it. When Keys comes on my show, I think he's prepared. I don't need to send him a playlist. Every time I've had Big Chief Sean on and I've sent the outline, he's never really responded, and I kind of question if he's preparing or if he's just saying stuff. But I remember he came on last year and he said that he thought OBJ was going, or is it 2 years ago, where OBJ went to the Rams, and I was like, I didn't see that at all, but he was right. But yeah, I think the Rams are better than people think, but I don't see them as a threat. But they're also a team that they get into the playoffs. Your first and run defense? Really? We curb stomped. Speaking of curb stomping, the next game, Tennessee destroyed Cincinnati in a game that I really thought Cincinnati, this would be the turning point. Derrick Henry, he's not going to be the dominant player he is, but he had 122 in this game. I said this earlier. I'm sorry, my brain freeze. If DeAndre Hopkins isn't on the Titans, this could be an 0-14. They beat the shit out of Cincinnati. This is a big win for Tennessee. All 4 of these AFC North teams are tied. The biggest difference between the other 3 teams and Tennessee is that Tennessee has the best defense. They have this power running back in Derrick Henry. If he's healthy, he's not the same dude who's going to run for 2,000. He's not the same guy who's one of the top 5-10 players in the NFL. He's not that guy. He's also the type of guy in a close game that you don't want to see getting the ball over and over and over again. DeAndre Hopkins can make plays. I still think it's a matter of time before we see Will Levis. But this was a big win for the Titans. And I really wonder, because I look at Cincinnati and I'm like, when are they going to turn things around? But that was, I mean, they've gotten blown out a couple times. So, no, and I understand it was like a freak ice storm in Carolina, and they had like traction, or they had the wrong spikes and all that. No, I don't see it. By the way, when I say it's not a revenge game, it doesn't mean that I don't see that they're not preparing or they're not worried about it. But I don't think that when you say revenge game, I look at a team circling an opponent on the calendar, and I don't see Detroit circling Carolina. I don't see it at all. But no, I don't. I would be floored if that happens, because Carolina's a terrible run offense, and Carolina's struggling. But Detroit needs to win this game to get to that next level, which I think that, like I said, there's a tier 1, and I don't think Detroit's there. I think they're on tier 2. But I think that they're going to win the North. So the Raiders are a trap game. It's going to be on Monday night. It's October 30th or October 30th. No, it's October 30th. And it's going to be a trap game. Maybe. It's going to be a fun one. I might do play-by-play. I might go live for that one. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I would love to go live for that one, by the way. The reason why the Panthers are 0-4, it's not because of Reich, it's because of front office. I honestly, if they really wanted to win this year, Andy Dalton would be the starter and Bryce Young would learn. This is a redshirt year for the Panthers, because what they're doing is they're just getting Bryce Young experience. And I've never agreed with this, but a lot of NFL teams are doing it, where you get the experience, and that's what you're doing. And if you really wanted to win, Andy Dalton would be there. And they're a team that's building, and there's going to be a game where they're going to win. And I think as the season goes on, you'll see Bryce Young getting better and better and better. But Yeah, it's kind of a red shirt year. I know CJ Stroud looks great, and I get it. I still say if you draft a quarterback, even if it's number 1 overall, he should sit. And if you started Andy Dalton, you'd have a better chance of winning. It's a redshirt year, but you're going to have some flashes. You're going to have some splashes. This is the type of game that I can see Detroit not really paying attention. I really could see it. That said, please watch my video, One Pride. But I do have Detroit winning. Full disclosure. Another game that was a curb stomping. Baltimore beat Cleveland. Now keep in mind, Deshaun Watson, I thought would play, didn't. What was it? Dorian Green Beckham? No, was it Dorian? I forget the star of the preseason, just not ready for the Ravens. In the AFC, it was funny because I mentioned Miami, Buffalo, and Kansas City. Baltimore is right up there. Very dangerous. That was a big win. It's on the road. That was great performance by the Ravens. Great performance by the Ravens. And that's going to be a fun game, by the way. Baltimore plays Pittsburgh. We are top 3 NFC team. No. San Francisco, Philly, and Dallas, I think, are better. San Francisco and Philly, definitely. I think Dallas is better. I like right. I mean, I like what they're doing. It's just that if they were really wanting to win this year, it would have been Andy Dalton. This is going to be like a redshirt year. I'm going to follow Carolina really closely this offseason because I'm interested in what they're going to do. I heard rumors that they're trying to orchestrate a trade for a receiver. I wouldn't do that because the way things are going, they're going to draft high, and they already got their quarterback. Marvin Harrison Jr. And Bryce Young, that works good. But let's say they win some games. Brock Powers, the Georgia tight end? Carolina's going to be a very fun team this offseason. Very fun team. Maybe the best game of the week was Denver at Chicago. Chicago was up 28-7. I was chuckling. I was laughing. I thought it was funny. I was watching Buffalo, Miami, and then that game got away. And then I saw Denver was getting caught up, and I was like, I went to the red zone, and I was like, God, I wish I could watch this game. The best game of the year may be Chicago and Denver. And if you didn't watch the game, the score is 28-28. Chicago's at Denver's 20-yard line. About 2 minutes left in the game. Instead of kicking a field goal to go up by 3, they elect to go for it and are stuffed. And after blowing a 28-7 lead, they give Denver the opportunity to win the game. And I firmly believe that if they look bad against Washington, and I do think they will, on Thursday, when I come back on Friday, we could be talking about Eberflus being gone. I really believe that. I think Eberflus, my next show, could be gone. Miami and Buffalo, if you read the box score, it's a blowout. It was a little closer. I think these are right now the 2 best teams in the AFC, Buffalo and Miami, from what I've seen so far. Here's the deal with their offense. It's inconsistent, but talent-wise, it's there. And Micah Parsons is unbelievable. That said, I mean, the way the playoffs is going to be set up is that Philly and San Francisco and Detroit are going to win their divisions. Okay, the team with the 4 spot is going to be in the NFC South, and as of right now, Tampa Bay, but I'm not sold on them yet. But the other teams are so. But you never know. Carolina's out, but seriously, Atlanta could get hot. The Saints' offense looks terrible, but Kamara's coming back. Carr's been banged up. You never know. All right, but the way it works is that the number 4 seed's going to be in that NFC South. All right, so Dallas will advance. Let's just say Dallas is the 5 seed, so Dallas is going to advance. The problem is Detroit good enough to be a 2 seed? And the reason why I say that is because let's say San Francisco or Philly is going to be a bye. San Francisco or Philly is going to be the 2 seed, right? So what you're hoping for is if Detroit moves on, off the top of my head, who would be team number 6? That's a good one. Maybe Atlanta, right? So you beat Atlanta, right? And you go to the next round where it's Final 4, right? You don't want to play Dallas. And you can sit here and you can say, oh, Dallas in the playoffs and Dallas this and Dallas that. You don't want to play Dallas in the playoffs. You really don't. To tell you the truth, you don't want to play San Francisco or Philly. Here's the deal. I would like Detroit better against a team like San Francisco or Philly than I would against Dallas. And I know it sounds crazy, but I mean, I just did my power rankings and I put Detroit over Seattle, but I did put them behind Dallas. But this week against Carolina, this is a game you need to win. You can't just roll out your helmets. And I could see Detroit being sloppy in this game. I really could. We'll find out. The game I thought I would be able to watch and I couldn't was Jacksonville and Atlanta and London, and that really pissed me off. Jacksonville started the season slow, 1-2. They played Buffalo this week in a big game because if Jacksonville beats Buffalo, then Jacksonville reestablishes itself as one of the dominant teams in the AFC. And then keep in mind, they got to the division round last year in the playoffs and played Kansas City pretty tough. They really did. I mean, it wasn't a blowout loss. I bet on Jacksonville to cover 8.5. I won that bet. I feel good about Jacksonville's chances, but I look. Please watch my video, my picks video. But I'll let you know I did pick Buffalo. But if Jacksonville wins this game, then we got a mess in the AFC. And I think it's funny because I really think that there's a tier 1 and a tier 2 in the NFC. I think in AFC it's kind of muddled. I would probably put Buffalo and Miami as 1 and 2. I would put Baltimore and Kansas City at like the tier 2 teams. But I'm scared. I mean, Kansas City's defense looks amazing. You got Reed and Mahomes. Baltimore, great defense. They're banged up as hell. Probably the most injury-riddled team in the league. They went to Cleveland and won 28-3. That's scary because they're not even at full strength. It's just a great season. And nobody wants to talk about what happened Thursday night. It showed me. So bottom line, Detroit, Green Bay. What showed me is I think Green Bay's king of the North. Oh, I'm sorry. I misspoke. I am so sorry. I did not mean that. Bottom line, I think Detroit's the new king of the North. I really believe that. There's a lot of good games on the weekend. Sunday night's going to be a good one. Dallas at San Francisco. By the way, check out my power rankings video and my picks video. They're short, they're sweet, they're awesome. Please drop a comment in. And by the way, if you haven't voted yet, please do of who is the most annoying fan base in the AFC North. I'm doing all 4 of the AFC North teams. Then I'll do all 4 of the NFC teams. And then we'll start doing the playoffs during the regular season just for fun. And it's all meant in fun and games. And I want to say this. I encourage trash talking between teams, but I don't encourage name calling. If you're going to call somebody names, call me names. But if you're new, and you come out and attack me, I have no problem kicking you out. For those who've been with me for a while, hey, you guys know you can agree with me anytime. Like for example, One Pride, I disagree with you, but I love your opinion. And I also love the fact that you, hey, look, I said Cowboys are better. You're like, hey, Dan, no. You can disagree with me on this channel. You always can disagree with me. But there are some really good games. There are some really good games on the schedule. Some games I've highlighted. I'm really looking forward to the London game, which I probably can't watch. But the Jacksonville-Buffalo game, because if Jacksonville comes up with a big win, it's pandemonium. Buffalo wins. AFC is on notice that this is probably the best team. Tennessee and Indianapolis is battle for first place. That's going to be a fun game. That's really going to be a fun game. It's an underrated game, but New Orleans at New England. If New England loses, they're in terrible shape, and the Saints they could drop back to 2-3. Baltimore, Pittsburgh's a big one for the Steelers. That's going to be a fun one. This could be a lot of fun. Philly at LA to play the Rams. I'm kind of curious. Are the Rams for real? This is a fun one for me. I said it was noon, but Chiefs are playing at 3. This is going to be a fun game for me. And I'm not going to be able to watch it because I'm going to do play-by-play for the Chiefs. But Cincinnati at Arizona is going to be a fun one because if Arizona wins, they kind of look a lot smarter than everybody else thought they were. Plus, they have all those draft picks, and to me, this is almost a must-win game for Cincinnati. It really is against a team that's got almost nothing to lose. Sunday night's a great game. Dallas and San Francisco feels like the 90s, two of the best teams in the NFC. And Monday is going to be a fun one. Green Bay at the Raiders. I'll have some more information about the injury report. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be back. It'll be a lot of fun. That's actually going to be a fun game. We'll find out because I don't think either teams are really threat, Green Bay or the Raiders, but it is going to be a fun game. It is going to be a real fun game. Now, some other things I didn't talk about. Jonathan Taylor's tomorrow going to return to practice. How much does he affect that Colts team? Is he going to play in that big game against Tennessee? We're going to find out. Tim brought up the Missouri quarterback. I haven't looked at any mock drafts, but I looked at some big boards. Normally, last year at this time, I've already gone over some mock drafts. I would love to get some mock. I would love to get like a mock draft guest to come on in the next couple of weeks, but that might not be possible. I was hoping to have a Vikings YouTuber come on. That, again, not possible, did not happen, but that's okay. That's okay. This was a really good show. I had a great time, especially considering my basement or my kitchen was flooded a couple hours ago, and I was pretty pissed. So, Hatter's House 710, go Lions. This is an important game for you this week. I know Carolina's winless. This is a game that if Detroit doesn't play well, do they just roll out the helmets? Do they think, hey, we got this? Because they're coming off an emotional win against a team that is really not really playing for much. I mean, it's a redshirt year for Carolina. Let's be blunt. Can you confuse a rookie quarterback? That's how you know you got a great defensive mind at head coach is you get a rookie quarterback. He doesn't have a lot of weapons there. The offensive line suspect. I thought it would be a lot better, by the way, but it's not. Can you confuse the rookie? Oh my God. Smell that. Seems like some talent is in the area. Gooch! I got spittle coming out. I'm so excited. There's like 9 types of dirty jokes right there. 9 types of dirty jokes. I don't think Dan would allow that they have to learn to deal with things. Oh, I mean, listen. By the way, Keys, when we did our breakdowns, Keys had the Lions going to the Super Bowl. I'm telling you right now, it's a different thing to be the hunted rather than the hunter. They're two separate and different things. And let's see how the Lions deal with it. But I'm pulling for you guys. I have you guys winning. I could see this as a game that you guys just kind of roll the helmets out. And let's see if you don't. Because when I do my power rankings next week, if you guys beat Carolina the way that you should in dominant fashion, I'm not talking you got to beat them by 40. I'm just saying you beat them. And, look, if they have a couple garbage touchdowns at the end of the game, they covered spread, that doesn't matter. But are you in control of the game? That's what I want to see, because you're a better team than Carolina. You're a better team than Carolina last year. I mean, not a lot of us expected. Well, it's funny because when I was on Luke G's show, I think Luke G predicted 4-0. I predicted 1-3, maybe 0-4. I thought you would start the season slow. Depends on who you talk to. But if you're a Lions fan and you say, hey, guess what? We're going to start off the season 3-1. I would be happy, because this is a game you should win. And I do expect you guys to be 4-1. I fully expect you guys to be 4-1. But this is a game. This is an interesting game. Now, being that I'm in an AFC market, we'll probably watch either New Orleans in this market, it'll probably be Baltimore at Pittsburgh or Tennessee at Indianapolis, probably Baltimore at Pittsburgh. And then after you guys win the game, tune into this channel right here. So I do play-by-play with Kansas City at Minnesota. And hopefully the Chiefs will take care of Minnesota. Hopefully the Chiefs take care of Minnesota. Guys, I've been on for 2:20. I think I'm going to wrap up here. Any final thoughts, questions, comments, concerns? Again, in the description below, my Monday morning power rankings video, my week 5 picks video. They're short videos, but they're very awesome. Give me your opinion. Let me know what you think, especially the power rankings, because I threw some things out there I kind of thought I'd get some arguments with. But, yeah, time to get ready for jiu-jitsu. Are you talking about Sunday? You take jiu-jitsu on Sunday? Don't get me wrong. That's a great reason to miss out. But, hey, jiu-jitsu should last 1 hour. I'll be on for 3 hours. So do come and join me for the live stream. I will try to set that up earlier in the week. Last week I didn't have it. So, Wednesday. Okay. You're good to go, man. You're good to go. All right, guys, listen, I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up. Guys, by the way, all my social media links are in the description. You can always DM me if you're not friends with me on social media. Why not? Are you on crack? Do DM me and by the way, you can be like One Pride here and DM me about some workouts, stuff not football related, and holy shit. And then but 95% of my social media is football related, because that's pretty much all I do. That's it, just football. And I'll be live Friday. And don't forget Sunday when the Chiefs play the Vikings. Tune in here as I will do play-by-play and reaction. Plus, I'll have DraftKings pulled up. Unless you're using a different sports betting site that you want me to go into. That way I can keep track of your bets. If you also have any betting questions, DM me. You guys should all be friends with me on social media anyway. But hit me up if you have any questions, thoughts, comments, concerns. I hope to see everybody back on Friday.